Hi, I'm Nydia Tijerina Darby. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, a therapeutic yoga specialist, the developer of the Therapeutic Ashtanga method, and the owner of Nydia's Yoga Therapy Studio in San Antonio, Texas. Welcome to the Serenidad Studio. I want to share with you 10, 11, or 12, or 50 of my favorite activities that I believe that you should do regularly, like 2 or 3 times a week, for the rest of your life. I believe that these activities are beneficial in helping to provide some of the needed motion and mobility that is required for all of our major joints in our spine. These activities can potentially promote your well-being, better balance and coordination, and function for long term. So check this out. The next segment, I will be showing these practices, and I'd like you to consider implementing them into your regular fitness practice. Meaning, do this often, and doing it to the best of your ability, make sure that you listen to a few key points. When you're doing these activities, I want you to make sure that the first and most important thing that you're doing is breathing smoothly and regularly throughout everything that you're trying. So if you're following along with me, listen to a little bit of the information that I give you, but really pay attention to the sensation and the sound of your breath. So breathing, priority. If you're not breathing well when you're doing it, then that's a sign from your body that you're doing too much. Listen to comfort. So you should be able to participate in these activities. Do a little bit. It shouldn't be overwhelmingly painful. Painful, that's not a good sign. But your bodies, they tend to, get used to not doing things. And so if it's something that's new, just try a little bit, take rest, try it again. You might notice as we're going along that I'm still going, or if you're in a practice with the class, then just take rest when you need to and then return when you're ready. I want to show you the activities that I believe are most important to participate in. And if you can, start small and then continue on. Here, let's go see one of my first ones. Well, I think that it's really important to participate in strengthening of your entire body, but some of the muscles in your lower legs are so important. And so I like to do squatting, and I will try to get into a good position with my weight even between both feet and just kind of demonstrate a squat here. As you can see, I'm sitting back, my feet are parallel, I feel the weight even between both feet, and I'm just working at a pace that is honorable. My knees as I bend are trying to be in line with my feet, and I'm just going as low as I can. I'm breathing, so you'll notice that my breath will get a little bit more labored the more of these that I do. Maybe you can start with 3, 5, 10. If you were to do 10 squats a day, gradually you might notice the muscles get stronger and more balanced, and you might be able to go lower eventually. And really, sometimes I like to add the arms, and this ups the ante a little bit. And then gradually, I do want to encourage us to learn how to squat and how to sit back and kind of get down here. But this takes time. Might not be time to go down all the way, but eventually, we can get up. One of the things that I've noticed is when our students participate in active squatting, over time, they get stronger. And they're able to tolerate things longer in their day, and their endurance increases. So something as simple as a mini squat, start with that. Anyway, I hope that you'll try squatting. Good stuff. All right. Another thing that I like to participate in are stair stepping. Now, I don't have any stairs right here, but on a regular basis, I like to go out into the community and find stairs to actually climb up and down. If you don't have any stairs, you might look around, maybe the outside of your home. You might have a step up and down, and just participate in stepping up and down. In fact, I'm going to go get me a block and show you what you can do. So I'm putting these blocks down, and I'm going to use these blocks to simulate stairs or steps that I might have in my home. And you can just participate, make sure that you can see where you're going, and just do some stepping up and stepping down. And you can use arms if you want to. If this was a stair that's in your home, then you can do that. And this is so great for your legs. Sometimes I'll stay up on a step and I'll practice the stepping down and stepping back up. This is a little more interesting. Down and stepping back up. And I've kind of got to use my proprioceptive skills, knowing where my body is in space. And again, this is one of the most challenging things, is stepping down. Most people complain that the thigh that's still on the step is, ow, that really hurts my knee. And so if you can, you might start with something that's smaller, maybe a level that's not so tall, or you might, if you don't have any choice, you might just go down a little bit and then come back up. And this is where that mini squat comes in. That'll get you ready, so think about that. But stair stepping, you could step up and tap and then come down. And, back in the day, in the 90s, I was one of those step aerobic instructors, and boy, did we step up and down all the time. And we used to put weights in our hands, and I used to tell stories, and we do all sorts of things. And it was actually, something to get the heart and the lungs working and get the big muscles. So anyway, stair stepping. Go out into the community. Check out your surroundings. When you go to the mall or you go to a store, automatically people say, well, let's take the elevator. Look around. There are going to be stairs somewhere. Make sure it's safe and go and use them. Okay, so let's move these out of the way. So some of the other things that I like to do involve getting onto the mat. So the downward facing dog. That, if you can, do the downward facing dog as often as you can. So some of us who are limited and maybe we can't get on the floor, you could, put your hands on a very sturdy chair, put your hands down strong, and then stretch back and just stretch your body. Let your head rest and just feel a big stretch and hold that. If you can, place your hands down on the mat, then bend, squat, put the hands down. Our sun salutation. Push the floor away from you, breathe, inhale and exhale. Feel a big stretch, bending the knees, and then coming down, child's pose. Big favorite. So when you sit back, drop your forehead down. This is another one of my favorites. We just kind of hold right here. There's an opportunity for a big stretch through the thighs, inhaling and exhaling. Another one of my favorite positions and activities to do is to do quadruped, four-footed position. So wide fingers and palms. Make sure that the weight is even between the ball of the hand, that's this part right here, where the fingers attach, and the heel of the hand, that's this part. And I'll get shoulders above the wrists. I draw my shoulders to pelvis, the back of the head to the ceiling, and the ribs to the ceiling, and I'll hold right here. Pushing the floor away, using my own body weight and resistance. I'm pressing and breathing, holding. And if you're feeling frisky, when you're ready, you can curl the toes under and keep everything that you've got, and then maybe lift the knees an inch or so and hold and breathe. This is a great way to encourage the upper quadrant strength and the strength of your core stabilizers in your upper body, head and neck, and hold. Might put the knees down in this position and inhale, extend cat-cow. Cat-cow is such a good posture. Inhaling as I extend and exhaling as you flex. Inhaling as we extend and exhaling as you flex. So if you were to do that, do it often, if you can, as often as you can. Give a moment to mobilizing your spine and then come back. Take rest for a moment. The wrists get a little bit tired. And so I like to circle the wrists a little bit. If I'm resting down this way, I'll circle the wrists back behind me. taking advantage of my resting in child's pose and working the hands and getting them to come out of that hyperextended position. I might flex and hold and breathe. One of the other activities that I really love to do is called thread the needle. And so when we're on quadruped, we're holding steady, pushing strong, being active through the arms. I'll take one arm, I might reach it way up high and then glide it down and put my shoulder on the mat. Let the forehead rest and just hold right here. I'm pressing the back of my hand into the mat and I'm breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And I'll stay here for a while. Each of us is different. You might feel a stretch through your torso, through your spine, through the back of that shoulder. I'm also checking that my shoulder is not way up here near my ear, but it's actually moving away. I use the power of my breath to encourage motion at my rib cage and thorax. It's such good stuff. Let's try that on the other side. I put that right hand down. I might reach that left arm for a big stretch and then reach down and underneath and hold. And I'm moving that left shoulder away from my ear. I'm inhaling and exhaling. Feeling a big stretch along my spine and through the ribs. Inhaling and exhaling. Steady. It feels so good, you know. The hardest part about doing any of these activities is actually making the time doing it. So if you can, you know, schedule it on your calendar. Make the commitment, just like you do brushing of your teeth and, you know, taking a shower, cleaning your body up, and it's general maintenance. Inhale. I'm going to bring my left hand back. It's so important, you know. You can do this work. One of the other activities that I really like to do, and you might have seen some of the videos that we have on my website where Bobby does the forearm plank. Bobby's my 81-year-old mom, and she's amazing. She's strong, and she's committed to her health and well-being. She tries to be active as often as she can, and daily she's doing something. I like to demonstrate, and I'll demonstrate for you the forearm plank, and we have some options for the forearm plank. I like to come down onto the elbows, and this is one option that's a little more challenging, but we'll wrap the hands around. We go from quadruped onto elbows and knees, wrapping the hands around. I'm going to now lace the fingers, drawing the shoulders down in my pelvis, back of the head and ribs to ceiling, and I might hold right here, breathe. Here's a transition from on the knees into quadruped, lifting the knees a little bit. Whoo, this is a nice position to get some strength. Notice if you're sinking or falling, press the back of the head, ribs to ceiling, breathe. From here you can say, well, what would happen, put the knee down, if I straighten that right leg? Ooh, this feels pretty good. I might lift that leg, I might, in here, straighten both legs, and my hips are a little bit high, and if it feels good, I'll begin to drop my hips just enough, pressing the back of the head and the ribs to the ceiling, breathing. This is one option, you can try that, or placing the knees down, push the back of the head and the ribs to the ceiling and hold right here. You're going to get a workout. You're going to get some strength in your upper body. Head and neck is positioned to try to improve the muscular endurance of the muscles and structures that hold your shoulder blades and your ribs and your head and neck in neutral. So hold, breathe. After I do that for a while, when I get tired, or I might come back to here, then I'll put everything down and I'll come to lying down on my abdomen. Now, I like to recommend lying on your abdomen as often as you can. I'm not a big supporter of stomach sleepers. I am a recovered stomach sleeper, and it actually isn't the best thing for your neck, but I will say that if you can, make time. Of the things that I want us to do for the rest of our life is to make sure that we don't avoid resting on our stomach. So you can cross the forearms. You know, when you rest on your stomach, your arms have to have a certain amount of motion to be able to tolerate this. Your hips and your spine have to tolerate going into a moment of extension. And this is probably the most important reason why I like people to lie on your stomach, because sometimes you'll notice that the hips won't come all the way down, and that's not a good sign. We want to make sure that we have the flexibility, the mobility to just rest down, and this shouldn't bother our low back. So if you're having trouble, if lying on your stomach on a flat surface like this bothers your low back, then you might put a pillow underneath your abdomen at first. And this is kind of one of the ways that we can do that. This is pretty big, so it doesn't have to be that big. But you can lie, and this is the beginning, especially for someone who has a history of low back pain. So start right here, breathe, breathe, breathe. Make sure you're on a firm surface. Doing this on a bed, if it bothered you, is not a good idea because that tends to fall and just kind of sink in. So breathing, inhaling, and exhaling, holding. I don't really need this, so I'm going to move it out of the way. I want to go for that extension. And then after we've been on our stomach for a while, stretching the legs out, shoulders move away from ears, that's when I'll move into a little bit more extension. And once again, another shoulders down to pelvis, press. And another important action is to get into a moment of extension. Maybe read a book here for a minute or two, or read the paper and then take rest when you need to, and then come back up, because that can really be beneficial. I'm going to come on to my abdomen because I have another activity. I'm already on my abdomen, but I have another activity that I'd like to participate in, and that is to get a moment, breathe, I'm lifting that left thigh, of extension through the hips, breathing. I'll put that left leg down and I'm breathing, and I might lift the right thigh, breathe. And I'll hold that for a few breaths, and if I can, maybe I'll take the arms back and breathe, head and neck in neutral. And if I can, I might lift the thighs, and I'm creating a moment. This is resistance, working my muscles against gravity into extension, hyperextension to be exact here. And it's such good stuff. Now, if I was having difficulty at first lying on my stomach, then I'll want to wait on this other big stuff. But gradually over time, this is a movement, and these are movement practices that you should tolerate and shouldn't be a problem. Oh my goodness. All right. So we did some lying down things. There's so many things that I might want you to do, but if you can, come back up onto your hands and knees. And we did the downward dog. We did some extension. We did, doing up dog eventually is something that could be nice, but at first just start with what you can. So what is up dog? That's this guy when we lift up and hold. Inhale and exhale. So that's a little bit larger. Start small, start right here, breathing. Then maybe eventually go to this and breathe, and then put the hands down and start a little bit lift here, and then gradually, we start, notice how my hips are off the mat, breathe. So this is good stuff, and everything should feel good. I'm going to come back down. And so coming into position, lying down, maybe. Before I go to lying down, I want to share with you another favorite of mine, and that's rolling, spinal rolling. And on my website, I actually have another video about the benefits of spinal rolling and how to do it slowly. But oh boy, if you have the ability, to just take a moment to roll around and hug yourself in like a tight little ball and just breathe, it's so beneficial. And those of us who don't know if we're ready for all of that big rolling, you can just start on your back and hug a knee into chest, breathing. You might lift the chest and the head a little bit, breathing. You might test it, and that feels good. Then hands behind your thighs, breathing, and start a little motion, getting us ready. This massages the spine and the internal organs, and if this feels okay and you can breathe, then we'll lift the head up and hold with that. And then if it feels good, then you can say, well, I'm going to try to roll up and down, inhaling and exhaling. And you can do that, and sometimes I'll hug in a tight little ball. And once I've gotten pretty good at my rolling, then I'll widen the legs. And gradually, I like to do a practice where we roll up and stand, and then squat down and roll down. It looks like this, where we come up, we lift, then we go down and back. Now notice that I've got my legs pretty wide, and I've been practicing this for a while. It took me a while to get the range of motion, But I love this activity, and if you did 10 of these every day, oh my goodness, think about the strength and the mobility that you might have. So I'm coming back down. So, you know, these activities, it's about getting your body moving, the circulation, but you want to be mindful. Make sure that things feel good, and you can start with the small steps. And if you're not sure and you want to try that rolling to standing, you should come visit us at Nydia's Yoga Therapy Studio. Come to one of our classes, because I actually show you how to create the variations that will allow you to gradually get really good at that. So it takes a while, no worries. What else do you have to do? All right, I like to do sometimes seated spine twisting, and so I'll take one leg underneath, go for a nice long spine, breathe and turn. Inhaling and exhaling. It always feels so good. So when we start doing spinal twisting or rotation, you know, we position the pelvis just right and lengthen the spine, draw the shoulders back, and then gradually we turn. We just take our time turning and breathing. You know, you want to make sure that you don't just twist the spine, but add the hips into it. Get the hips to get into position first, and then lengthen. And we can try the other side. I'll cross a leg under and lengthen the spine. I'm inviting that right hip back as I reach the left arm around, and I stretch my spine long, and then I turn and look over that right shoulder, inhaling and exhaling. Everything should feel good. And inhale and exhale. I'll hold that for a few breaths. I'll think wonderful, happy thoughts, and then I'll come back. And so some of the other things, you know, we can do is our seated head to knee and stretching the legs and holding. Those are wonderful, you know. We get an opening of the hips and dropping down and just feeling that sense of stretch. And we can use a strap. Don't be afraid to let the spine move. Our bodies, our nervous systems were designed for movement, and so if we go slow and we listen to our breathing, we can really make a positive impact, little by little. Spinal twisting can also be done when you're lying down. I love to do knees to chest stretch, and I stretch the other leg out. And I just hold, and I'm listening. My head rest down on the mat and breathe, and then maybe taking that leg across, looking over that right shoulder and breathing. This feels really good. And you just want to go to the place where it honors you and it feels great. Come back center, and I might go look for my strap. I saw it a moment ago, and when I come back center, I'll take the strap around the ball of my foot and go for a big stretch. I'm trying to make a muscle. I'm lifting the top of my foot to my shin, and I draw the shoulders back and down. And this is a great way to stretch the lower calf and the back of that leg and the hamstring, because my spine is supported, and this can really be beneficial. And don't worry about how close you can get to your toes to your nose, but rather straighten the leg and make a muscle and really press through the opposite leg into the mat and breathe. And I could have you here for days. These are some of my favorites. And we could try the other side. We're hugging that left knee in. Breathing. What do we do with the feet? Well, sometimes I'll stay in dorsiflexion and sometimes plantar flexion. And if I go into a spinal twist, I'll look over that left shoulder. Truly, these are my most favorite activities. If you come to one of our yoga classes, you'll see some of these in different, sequences. It just kind of depends, but they really do help to mobilize and encourage motion through the spine and through all of the extremities. And we come back center and inhaling and exhaling. I take the strap around the ball of my left foot, and I'm noticing, am I holding on and pulling with this strap, or can I anchor the shoulders down and lift the toes towards my nose, get some action there? And this right leg, can I press that right leg into the mat, squeezing the backside and breathing and making a muscle at the front of my thigh, inhaling and exhaling. This is really beneficial to getting a stretch along the back of the thigh. My spine is completely supported. So if you have a history of challenges in your spine, and yes, there's a relationship to tightness here that challenges the spine, then get on your back, you know, and just start to feel that sensation, and then get your knees into your chest and feel the stretch and breathe, and then eventually, you know, take your strap. And even if it's over here, it's a beginning, and then gradually we might go to here, and who knows what we can do. And you know, there's nothing more I'm not healthier because my leg could come over here. I just so happen to have that flexibility. One of my big challenges is within all that motion, I need to have strength. So here at Nydia's Yoga Therapy Studio, we work on helping you develop strength along the motion. And that's one of the things that makes us very unique, is we want to improve your whole functioning for the long term. Strength along the range of motion is so important. You know, at the end of a practice, I like to get upside down, and sometimes I'll lift my hips up on a blanket. And it's kind of a neat thing that we can do. And sometimes how I do that is I'm lying down already, I lift my hips up, put the blanket underneath, and this in itself gives me a stretch, and I can bring a knee into chest and then bring the other one up. Oh, feel a stretch, getting upside down, breathing, maybe the legs go up. Just to get that sensation, you know. And while I'm here, oh boy, what an opportunity. I can dorsiflex and plantar flex my ankles. I can invert and evert at the ankles. Notice I'm trying not to move my thighs, it's all ankles. I could do my range of motion, my circles, circle in one direction, circle in the other. I could flex the toes, extend the toes in plantar flexion. I can flex the toes, extend the toes in dorsiflexion. I could flex the toes, hold and invert, evert, breathe. I can extend the toes, you know, in dorsiflexion. So just moving through the ankle, all the way through. You'd be surprised. All of these muscles down here are important to your balance and coordination. So don't forget to take a look at and also move those ankles and feet. I'm going to bring the feet down. I'm going to move my blanket back into its position. Oh, you know, and then resting at the end of a practice. Just letting yourself rest down. And, you know, I was showing you some of my favorite. I don't know if that was 10, if it was 12. I have no idea how many that was. We'll count them after a while. But feels good to lie down and rest. And everything that we do should feel good. Everything that we do, we should be able to breathe through. And I'll say that sometimes some of the things that we're doing for our well-being don't always feel really good. My rule of thumb is if you can breathe while you're doing the activity, then it's likely something that your body is going to work towards being okay with. Well, who knows? We got to try it. All right, I'm going to come up and I'm so thankful that you were watching this video. It was my intention to share with you some of the things that I do to help keep myself mobile, some of the things that I teach to the students, and the activities that I believe if you participate in these activities regularly, they can benefit you for the long term. So if you're interested in learning more about our structured therapeutic yoga classes, you can check out our website, the schedule page at www.nydiasyogatherapy.com. You should consider coming to take practice with us. Our methods are very unique. I have designed an approach to teaching you how to do yoga so that you can be your own best yoga teacher. So important. You know your body, and you've been with your body for as long as you are old. And so, you know, as you go through the years, movement is so important, but you've got to learn how to care for your body the best that you can. And that comes through practice and experience. And if you listen to your breath while you're moving, that can be so beneficial. So Anyway, so thankful that you checked in with us. You can check out some of our more of our videos on our YouTube page at the Nydia's Yoga Therapy YouTube page. You can go to our website at www.nydiasyogatherapy.com to our video page and check out some of the videos that I load up on there. Keep an eye on us on Instagram and on Facebook. You know, that's about all the digital media that I can tolerate, but we're out there and I want to share these things with you. So thank you for checking in, and don't forget, you know, go and register to be a subscriber to the Nydia's Yoga Therapy page on YouTube. It will really help me spread more of this information out to many people. Have a great day. Namaste.